Welcome to episode 129 from the Shed Ends with myself, Theo, and the other Theo. How you doing?
No, not bad, not bad. Busy day yesterday, work-wise. Went to an exposition, so it was always on your feet, so the legs are a bit sore. And other than that, finished with some drinks in central London, so slightly sore head and hungover. But yeah, thank God Friday you get to recover a bit today, and luckily work hasn't been too cruel to me, and my
Yep.
emails are quite kind. So yeah, other than that, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Like I said to you before we start recording, a bit under the weather, but yeah, just gotta persevere, continue. Looking forward to. Feels weird because obviously a lot of football's happened this week. Chelsea have not been playing, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, early kickoff. Before we get into the preview, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, you like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments. If you're here as part of the live stream and you drop into the live stream, make sure again you leave some comments and your thoughts as we discuss. And audio listeners, make sure again you hit the notification bell on the Spotify or Apple podcast to make sure you don't miss an episode that we do. We're going to keep this one very short, and we're gonna talk West Ham now. We've got an early kickoff, 12:30, which I don't mind. We haven't played a game for just under 7 days, I think. So, what's your thoughts very, very quickly before we move on to the West Ham, obviously Bournemouth game? Just very quick assessment of that. Quite a flat game in terms of the performance, but what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like we were probably second best, if I'm honest. I feel Bournemouth created a large amount of chances, and if I'm completely honest, I don't think it's Travers in goal didn't have much to do, and didn't even pull off a save up until Nkuku got that shot on target for the goal. So yeah, lucky to come away with the Vitality Stadium with the 3 points. Big performance from Robert Sanchez. We've often been quite critical of him on this podcast, but I thought he was probably the man of the match, alongside maybe Moises Caicedo or potentially even a Renato Vega. I think they were fantastic. I think obviously we were missing Reece James and Gusto at right back, because the Sassy experiment at right back was a disaster. And I'm not just going to throw the Sassy under the bus, but also Wesley Fofana I thought was quite below par as well. And actually Tosin looked better when he came on and looked a lot more composed. I will also give credit to the team that finished the match, because we showed great kind of fights to get the 3 points and fight for that goal. And also really enjoyed Sancho's 45 minutes as well. He looked really sharp when he was on the ball, always looked to get forward, beat his man, and he actually got the assist for the Nkuku goal. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he starts perhaps on tomorrow at the London Stadium.
Yeah, no, it was a difficult game to watch because I think we were almost doing everything right in terms of the defensive. I know we were poor in spells of it, but we kept Bournemouth out. That was the main thing. I thought the midfield, it kind of did miss Enzo a little bit, I think, but I thought Vega coming in, stepping in, doing a job there was crucial, and he'd done it really well. And like you said, Sancho coming off the bench, second half was probably for me was the outstanding player, the difference, I would say, definitely. And Nkunku, another one, obviously got the goal, but I thought we dodged a bit of a bullet there. I think, had we carried on playing the way that we did in the first half, it was probably, lucky Sanchez saved the penalty, but I think very, very lucky and fortunate to walk away with 3 points, because it wasn't a game that was convincing at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a type of game, if I'm completely honest, had it been the same kind of Chelsea team from last season, would have left the Vitality with a 0-0 draw and 0 points. And that's actually what happened last season. That same fixture last year was a 0-0. Probably as we were heading into the last 10-15 minutes, I kind of had it in my head, we were going to lose this or drop 2 points. But yeah, great fighting spirit to walk away with 3 points, and good tidy finish from Nkuku as well, because a lot of former players were close to him, so managed to beat them. And yeah, again, Sancho, credit to him for having an impact as soon as he stepped on in what was his first 45 minutes as a Chelsea player.
Yeah, I just want to ask you about Sancho, because I kind of had flashbacks to Mikhailo Mudryk, your favourite player, against Anfield for his sort of cameo a couple of seasons ago. And I felt after the game, which I'm not saying he didn't deserve it, he did definitely deserve the praise, both Mudryk at Anfield and also Sancho last weekend against Bournemouth. But it's I worry that we're sort of jumping the gun a little bit. Not say we, but I definitely am. In terms of hoping that he can sustain that and consistently play as he did against Bournemouth. Are you on the other side of the fence where you think obviously you need to see a bit more of him, but are you worried that it might be another Mudryk in terms of he started really well and then he just sort of went downhill?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to jump the gun either. It's still very early days in his Chelsea career. I am kind of optimistic that this might work out, plan out better than the Mudryk signing from Shakhtar Donetsk in January 2022. And the main reason for that is I feel like Sancho's got a bit more of a point to prove. He's kind of, a lot of people kind of, they didn't really consider him as a player anymore.
Yeah.
To be honest, he didn't even look like a shadow of his Dortmund self while he was at Manchester United. I think he's got a big point to prove, not just for his career, but also to kind of Premier League fans, pundits as well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of change now in the England setup as well. And he'll probably want to break into that England team now as well. He's seen guys like Anthony Gordon, like Noni Madueke get into the England fold under Lee Carsley. So there's no kind of reason why Sancho, if he doesn't have a good season, can get back into the England fold. Of course, still very early days. I want to see those type of performances or those type of cameos more consistent as well. And that's something that Mudryk simply hasn't been able to do. And I think the good thing, both the players, both Sancho and Mudryk, there's a lot more competition now in that position.
Yeah.
So it's the type of thing that if they don't, play consistently well, they won't get much game time or they'll get dropped. And performances like Sancho's yesterday will probably put him in line for a starting position tomorrow at 12:30, which is something that Mudryk has not really done so far this season when he started. And I think we started one game, I think it was against Palace.
Yeah.
And he didn't do much in that game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to whether it's a cameo off the bench again, or he starts the game and gets 60 minutes under his belt. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Sancho can do. I was really impressed with, he's taking on the defenders and getting the ball into the box. I think he created the goal. I think he assisted the goal from Nkunku as well. So really impressive him. Let's move over to tomorrow's game. Obviously, London Stadium's technically a London derby. Little quiz for you. I know you like these. Our last win against West Ham.
Easy.
And who was the scorer?
Was this away to West Ham? Is it
away? Yep.
Yeah, April 2021. Timo Werner 1-0, wasn't it?
Yep, it was. Yeah. See, there you go. That's why I test you, because I know you know them. What's your thoughts? We're going into this game. We've got to seriously, hopefully, climb up the table.
It's type of fixture like every single season. And you look at Transform, you kind of look at ours, and we should be edging these type of fixtures. Like you said, we haven't won a game at the London Stadium in about 3-4 years of football, so it's time we kind of redeem ourselves and get 3 points in East London. Remembering this fixture last season, it came quite early in the, I think again a 12:30 kickoff, quite early in the season, around August, September time, and that was Pochettino's first defeat as Chelsea coach. I think it was Carney Chukwuemeka got the goal for Chelsea, then he had to come off injured. Listen, it's for me, it's going to be a tricky fixture. I feel like West Ham really strengthened in the summer. There's some really quality players, the likes of Kudos, Paqueta. I really like Kilman as a centre-back signing as well. They've got Carlos Soler, Luis Guillem as well as a new signing. So they've got a lot of quality and depth in their squad. That being said, like if we want to challenge for top four, this is the type of game we need to be winning. You look at the Cities, the Arsenal, the Liverpools. They go to the London Stadium, they come out with 3 points every single season, whereas we seem to struggle. And I think that's the difference between what's separating us right now from being a top four team again, is getting these type of wins and these type of fixtures. That being said, I'm still expecting a tough game. They haven't gotten off the best of starts in the Premier League. I think they're on 4 points, lost to Man City, drew with Fulham last week.
Yeah,
and I think they beat Palace on match week 2 and lost to Aston Villa by just a goal on the first weekend of the Premier League. So they're stuck on 4 points currently, but still very early days. And they got their home crowd, they got the home advantage. But listen, we need to be winning these type of games. I think the excuse is now of the money we've spent. Sure, we've got a couple injuries at right back, but I don't think that's an excuse for dropping points in a fixture like this. Yeah,
no, I agree with you 100%. I think when you look at the players that we've brought in, the players that we've got, the way that we've been playing the games, they haven't always been convincing. But I do think we've got to go into this game on Saturday with the intention to win it. I think we have to show that we can win the game. Yes, they've got players that they brought in that are of good quality and good standard, but we've it'd be interesting. I mean, we'll get onto our lineup shortly. I think Fulkrug for West Ham might be a doubt. Also Emerson, might be a doubt for them. But they still have Wan-Bissaka now. They have Kufal still, Alvarez, like you mentioned as well, Pekata, Bowen. So they have a good set of players that will cause us some troubles. Enzo Maresca obviously said, no Reece James, no Gusto. Trying to think, he said Enzo is in the team and Dewsbury Hall is also fit to play. Let's go to our lineups. Actually, I'm gonna let you go first. So let's bring it up on the screen. So it's on the screen now. So you're gonna take us through it. You've gone for very similar to
I've got
Bournemouth
Robert
slightly.
Sanchez. Yeah, almost very similar to Bournemouth, just a couple of changes. I've gone with Robert Sanchez in goal. I think he was probably one of his best performances in a Chelsea shirt. The Vitality Stadium. Actually, if I'm remembering right, he put in a man of the match performance last season there as well and kept a clean sheet. Another fun fact, I think that was our first away clean sheet since October 2023 against Fulham. So yeah, long time coming since we get a clean sheet on the road. But yeah, Robert Sanchez definitely played his part. Big penalty save as well, because it wasn't just a good save, it was the way he kind of adjusted his body to dive towards that ball. And if there's that kind of like iconic picture where you kind of zoom into his face and his eyes are actually like looking at the ball. So it's almost like he adjusted his body to be able to do that. Looks like a James Bond villain in that photo. Yeah, Sanchez in goal. Then I'll actually have my two centre-backs, Levi Colwill as the left centre-back. And Tosin Adebayo. I think I butchered that. But as my other centre-back. Then I've gone for Renato Vega as left back, and because of the injuries to to Gusto and James, and simply just I don't want to be seen to Sassy at right back again. I've gone with Cucurella at right back. I think he played there a couple of times last season.
He did.
And a good shift, so I'd go with him. I just don't want to be seen to Sassy there again. And the other centre back I dropped is Fofana. Again, he's been playing quite regularly this season. I think Tosin, when he came on against Bournemouth, looked very sharp. Dispossessed a few Bournemouth players, and I feel like this type of game, maybe if he puts in a good performance, he could potentially start playing more regularly. And he's a tall player as well. And you look at West Ham's team; they've got quite a big, a lot of height, big lads: Kilman, Antonio, Tibido, Paqueta. His tall team. Fulkrug is a doubt, but he's a bit of a monster and a beast. Centre mids, I've gone with Enzo and Caicedo. I think those two kind of pick themselves currently. And I faced maybe too soon for Lavia and Dewsbury Hall, obviously coming back from illness. I think we'll see him more kind of as a rotation player coming off the bench in these type of Premier League fixtures. And then I've actually gone with Nkuku as the 10, Palmer on the wing, and Madueke on the other wing with Jackson up top. I think it'll be silly not to play Nkuku from the start after his goal against Bournemouth. So yeah, I think he needs to start this one. And what I like with this lineup, it gives us plenty of depth off the bench. You've got Joe, Joao Felix, Neto, potentially Mudryk, Lavia, Dewsbury Hall, Cassidy if he's going to feature, Chukwuemeka if he's going to play a part. You've also got Fofana who can maybe come on if you want to kind of defend. So yeah, that's my lineup.
Yeah, I've just made a comical Theo error that I normally do. So Fofana is currently shown on the image, but you did choose a Tosin. So, but no, it's a good lineup. I do think it's a really good lineup in terms of what it brings to the team. It was interesting because Maresca said on his press conference earlier today that he kind of was asked a couple of times about who's his left-sided attackers and who's his right-sided attackers, who are his number 9s, and he sort of explicitly said a couple of times that Jackson and Nkunku and Mark Gu are his number 9s. He said Pedro Neto, ironically, is a right-sided attacker, which doesn't really make sense because he's played him on the left a couple of times already this season. With Palmer as the 10, Mudryk and Sancho were on his left side. So he kind of really tried to hone in on who he felt was going to be. He basically said, we've got 2 players in each position that. That's what it is. It's not, we haven't got a massive squad, which is what we've kind of said on here before. But I do think I like that. I think it gives a good balance to the team. And like you said, we have options off the bench as well. My only worry, and it's not a criticism of the lineup at all, but it's definitely Nicholas Jackson. I like him as a player. I think he's really good. But I think I said it before on here. You give him 10 chances, he scores 1, or he should be sometimes walking away with a few more. And that worries me as the season progresses. again, very much like last season. I know I think he's in like third position of the most goals scored from open play or something. You know, he's in amongst some good company, but it just worries me a little bit that, you know, if we, you know, I'm looking at the players behind him, and Kunku, Palmer, Madueke, all of them would potentially try and give him some really good service on Saturday, and it just worries me that he panics maybe in front of goal. But then he scores goals as well, so you can't really. And he's our number 9, you know, he's our striker, so that does worry me a little bit. But no, I like the lineup; it's really good.
Yeah, I feel also in that lineup, and Cuckoo Palmer potentially interchangeable between that
Yep.
kind of winger role and that number 10. I do kind of agree with what you said about Jackson. He does get goals, but he also misses a lot of chances. There was that
Yeah.
golden chance, I think in the dying seconds of the Palace game, and you're kind
Yeah.
of thinking to yourself, if that's a Jao Felix, if that's an Nkuku,
Cool. Yeah.
or even potentially a Victor Gyökeres or
Yeah.
Osimhen in that type of position,
Yeah.
I think they're scoring it. Whereas Jackson, I think, smashes in Hennessy's body instead. Not Hennessy, sorry, Henderson.
Henderson.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a frustrating player, but normally his stats don't lie. He kind of had, I think, 15 goals across all competitions last season. But I just do want to be seeing him take those kind of golden chances that he's been missing so often in his first year as a Chelsea player.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the tapping against Palace, the header against Wolves. Yeah, sure, these are chances that you expect him to score, but now you want to be seeing him score those one-on-ones, those
Yeah.
kind of ones from relatively tight angles, or at least kind of put them on target,
Yeah.
or really test the keeper to a point where you know you're going to maybe get a rebound and be able to tap it in, but he's just not getting that, and he needs to. I think he's matured slightly, but still kind of. I think in his eyes, he thinks he's some kind of God's gift to the world, and he needs to kind of calm down and kind of reduce his ego slightly, and kind of bring him level with some of the other Chelsea players. I think that he's still very young, and we forget that. But yeah, he needs to kind of just mature slightly as well. But I think he'll be a good kind of squad player to have this season. Still to be confirmed. What happens in January, where we kind of go back in for Osimhen. Victor Gyökeres is, I think, a favourite of both of ours as well. So yeah, it'll be an interesting couple windows coming up, and depending on Jackson's form as well.
And also Fofana, David Datcher Fofana, I think has got a break in his loan deal as well, so he could potentially end up back at Cobham in the January. But I've gone for something slightly different, but not too different to yours. So backline was, well, I did have Fofana in mind, which is probably why I made the mistake. But I've gone for Cowell and Fofana as my centre backs, with Mark Cucurella at right back, Renato Vega left back, which I think, again, you know, the lesser of two evils in terms of Dizazi and Cucurella. I think Cucurella is one of those players that will be able to get forward, but also understand the defensive duties that he's is needed of him. So I think, yes, it's not ideal to have him playing as a right back, but I think in terms of what he'll be able to do, and Vega really been impressive. Him, I think he's been really unfortunate. I know he played in midfield against Bournemouth, but I just think watching him in that left back position, I think it was against Servette potentially, first leg, I think was amazing. You know, it looked like he just fitted into the team. So I think having him at left back, I'm not too concerned. It's obviously going to be a difficult game. I'd assume maybe Wan-Bissaka might actually play on the left for West Ham, Kufal potentially on the right, but I might be wrong there. But yeah, I would definitely start with those two as the fullbacks. I've gone for the same as you, Enzo Caicedo as a midfield two. I've gone for Noni Madueke, Cole Palmer as a 10, and I've gone for Jadon Sancho on the left side of that attack. I think watching him for 45 minutes, and one of the things we both said about Mudryk was that he never got a real consistent run of games to see how he's going to play for Chelsea, and I wouldn't want to see the same happen to Sancho in terms of we start him, then we bench him, we start him, then he benches him for 2 games. I want to see a consistent run of games. It's unfortunate for Neto, it's unfortunate for João Felix. I don't think we can drop Cole Palmer. I think Madueke's probably started, our attacking roles probably started as one of the better players, so it'd be harsh to drop him. But I was really impressed with Sancho, and I don't know if that's just like new club bounce where you just want to impress and show what you can do, and then it kind of dips off, but we won't know that until we play him. My striker I've gone for is Christopher and Nkunku.
I'm liking this actually. I feel like I kind of always just assume Jackson will start, but potentially
I think he will.
8 + 9.
Yeah.
Sancho also fits in there. I'm kind of liking this lineup too, actually.
But going back to what Maresca said in the press conference earlier, I think Jackson will start because he's keen to see him play. He said words like he's our number 9, so it kind of makes his first choice. And Nkunku can play there, Mark Gu can play there, but I think he sees Jackson as the first choice number 9, which I'm not against after everything I've just said, but I just think give Nkunku that chance as well, because when he's in front of goal, he is deadly. We've seen that against Bournemouth. He scored a very similar goal. I feel like it was against Palace. I feel like he scored a very similar goal, sort of like took it on his left, took it on his right, and then he scored. He's like dinked it in. But yeah, he can score goals. He's someone that I just think we need to see in that number 9. Maybe to take Jackson out the limelight, I'd possibly play Mark Gu against Barrow, which we'll talk about next week.
Yeah.
And use Jackson maybe in that game some capacity, but let's give Nkunku the opportunity, and maybe you can sub him off. You could, if you're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, you sub him off. You bring on Jackson for 20 minutes and give him a run out as well. But
yeah, I think a lot of players that kind of miss out on the starting position on Saturday, they'll probably play a part against Barrow on Tuesday, which is only 2 or 3 days later. You're looking at maybe Neto. You're looking at potentially Sancho if he doesn't start tomorrow. João Felix, Mark Wheel. Some others like probably Mudryk. I think if he doesn't start against Barrow, then I think he's off in January for sure.
Maybe Chilwell.
Cassidy, maybe Chilwell potentially. I still feel like a lot of Chelsea fans think that because he's training with the squad, he's going to start games now. But I still think it's just because maybe they want to get him match fit. They don't want to exclude him fully. But I'll be very surprised if we see him in the matchday squads to some capacity again. I think he'll be off in January, potentially to abroad or potentially to another Prem club. But yeah, I think Barrow's going to be a big game for some players that maybe don't feature as much. Badiashile, another player that's on the fringes at the moment.
True.
Chukwuemeka, I still feel like maybe I put him in that same bracket as Chilwell. He's training with the team, but I think he might have even been part of that bomb squad. We're told he can leave, and we're still told he can leave quite late in the window when the windows were still open in Greece and Turkey and those clubs. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of team with this. See what Maresca's thinking is tomorrow, and then on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, no, it's be interesting. I'd like to hope that regardless of what team we put out, whether it's your lineup or my lineup or a hybrid of the two, that we get 3 points, because I think we've got the squad to do it. And I think hopefully taking away, I know it was a scrappy game in the end, but taking away that confidence from the Bournemouth game, having a week off to train and try new things on the training ground or whatever, that should help us go into that game on Saturday, albeit an early kickoff. We should still be up for it, and I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm positive. I've been positive this season so far, and I'm going to stick to the positivity so far.
Yeah, it's one of those fixtures that could like make or break your weekend mood after some really enjoyable fixtures to come up after, and you just want to like make sure it kind of sets your weekend in the right direction. 3 points, you can then enjoy City, Arsenal on Sunday. I think there's some AC Milan, Inter. There's some really good fixtures throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Saturday 12:30 could be a bit of a make or break in the mood for the going into the weekend for sure.
We'll win as we always do. We'll end it on predictions. So let you go first.
I think I'm going to stick with what I put on the app. Similarly to you, I'm relatively optimistic. I know that West Ham really strengthened, but I feel like we might just have the edge. So I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-1 or 2-0. I'm going to go 2-1. I think defensively we're still leak goals. We're prone to making mistakes at the back, very much like Fofana and Sanchez against Bournemouth. So I'm going to go 2-1. Goal scorers, I'm going to go for Nkunku and I'm going to go for Palmer.
Yeah, we do goal scorers. I'm going to go Sancho and João Felix. I think João Felix off the bench. Two players coming off the bench, maybe combining and scoring a goal each potentially. I think that's where he got his first Chelsea goal, João Felix. Was it when he his first spell?
Yeah.
He came back from his 3-match ban.
Yeah.
I think it was an Enzo kind of ball and João Felix scored it. But yeah, it's a type of game where we need to kind of capitalize on these types of teams. And I feel like West Ham are the team, they haven't really fully found their stride yet. But give them potentially a couple more months under Lopetegui and they might start to really look like a team, similarly to how they looked kind of at times under David Moyes. They were quite patchy with their performances. And I feel like we haven't seen the real West Ham yet. And I'm kind of hoping it doesn't come tomorrow at 12:30. But yeah.
Could be a good time to play them, but We shall see. We shall see. Hopefully, it doesn't ruin our weekends, and we can watch Inter Milan in peace. We can watch City Arsenal in peace. We can watch the boxing if you're watching that as well. You can watch that in peace as well. Don't forget to leave your thoughts, your comments. If you're, as I said, you're on an audio version, make sure you hit notification bells and on there as well. Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast. Theo, enjoy the weekend when you get to it as well. Hopefully, the hangover moves on at some point,
Fighting through it still, but yeah,
or you just
I feel
carry on drinking through the weekend.
Yeah,
Depends.
yeah. Talking footy sometimes helps to just forget about the hangover for sure. Distractions.
It'll probably be back by about 2:00 on Saturday. Everyone else, enjoy the weekend, and when you get to it, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back very soon. Thanks for watching.